Boom, boom, boom. Welcome to Tour Truck Tuesday. Here's one that always rocks. It goes hot for you guys, and that is the what's in the bag. I've pretty much laid it all out for you. Let's see if I can give you some hot tips about my golf bag that maybe you can pick up for the season. This ain't going to be your normal what's in the bag. That's all I'm going to start with. Where do we start? Well, the lids. They're critical. These guys are FlexFit 110s from Yupong. I like a big logo. It's come from sports marketing days out there on the tour. You can actually get these on the website. I wear them because they sit nice and high. You can see it's the look I'm going for. You all know that. Other soft goods that are particular that I'm on and I like. I'm going to start because we all have to pimp up what we use, don't we? I managed to get this head cover back in the day. It's the retro look TaylorMade cover. And I partner it with the 3-wood with an Almigos, also pom-pom type kind of look going on. Let's get under these two bad boys and see what we've got. Those of you who've been following and saw the fitting that I did for driver at the start of the year, I played to be optimal. I play the Stealth Plus 8 degrees. Now, since that fitting, I've actually moved it towards one click towards the higher setting because initial testing, and this is what I talk to you about as you go through your testing, we're just losing it to the right. So remember, I've said to you before, if you turn that thing towards higher, that thing being the loft sleeve, make sure it clicks. You're then going to turn the face angle. Face angle is always going to have an impact on ball flight. So I was losing it to the right. My start lines were a little bit to the right. I cranked it and I moved it. Blade went a bit more upright. Blade also went more to the left. It helped me out. I then got into this guy underneath. And again, I'm telling you people the same thing. See how that is moved towards the heel? By moving it towards the heel, then the heel moves slightly slower. The mass is in the heel. The toe moves quicker. I can turn this thing over. It's going to be 46 inches. Just fits on the screen. And it's got a counterbalance TZ6 prototype M5. M5 being the flex. So I'm able to make the balance point heavier when it comes to the head weight, give me more speed. You can see, and I'm going to talk about this as the year goes on, that bad boy right there, new to me, Arcos, in the grip cap. I've got it in everything as it comes through the set. Everything. Let's take a look at that set and let's just talk about clubs I've got sat in the bag. Bag I use, TaylorMade carry bag, as long as it's got TaylorMade logo on there, and TrottieGolf. I have no real preferences. I do like to walk, so I like a lightweight bag, but also if I'm chucking it on a golf cart, I want to be able to do that. Reach over, pull my sticks out, not have any hassle, not have the clubs going everywhere. You know what it's like. Sometimes emotions get high on a golf course. The last thing I want is to be yanking at those golf clubs. So the bag's important. It's pretty easy. I've got a 3 and a 4 iron sat in the backup bag, not used very often, the MC 3 iron. And then I did use this, the 774. Why did you take it out? Why do they now sit in your golf bag that sits at home? And why do you now rock 3 iron in the 770, switch then to a 4 in the P7 MC, all pretty much at tour standard lofts? I hate to say, oh, this is standard, but 6 iron 31, 3 iron 21, pitching wedge, good old-fashioned 47. That's the way I go. I'll let you figure out the numbers in between. We don't need this to go on for absolute decades. But 4 through to pitching wedge in that P7 MC. This, to me, does look a little bit square, but it's also palatable. I've talked about it before. If you go for a mill grind 3, 48, 47, whatever you want to bend it to, no problem. But check out hosel width. By having the pitching wedge out of the set, I get the spin I want and the control I want. If you're going to play the mill grind 3 pitching wedge, 48, 47, wherever you put that thing at finishing, it will spin a little bit more So just be aware of that. So you might not get the same yardage out of it. I've calculated that I want the set pitching wedge, something to be very aware of. Now I mentioned to you the 770. Why do you carry that and not the P7MC? A lot of people would think we had placed a combo, the 3-iron into the 4-iron. They'd also think, well, you're hitting 4-iron, P7MC. We know, Trotty, that you run your stats. We can see now you're running Arcos. We get all that. It's not for striking purposes, I assume, because you hit the 4 fine, so you should be able to hit the 3 fine. Remember I said to you there was a second head cover. And this has been an absolute champ. And I'm going to come back to that 3 and 4 iron. But this has been most valued player, the MVP so far for me. And this is the Stealth Fairway wood. As you see on the videos I put up, I for a long time liked the original Sim 3 wood. I love this too. It spins a little more for me because I don't want my 3 wood to be a cannon. Stealth Plus I loved in a 3 wood, but it was more low spin cannon. This one came out with a bit more spin, so could hold up and would land on greens when I needed it. I bent the lie angle, which I know is a tour move. Please don't crucify me for that, but you can see I'm not exactly the largest human in the park, so I did make it a bit flatter for me, and this gave me the numbers. This has got the Ventus 7X 1.5 inch tip in the blue, not the new TR, just the 7X, and it runs at 1/2 inch shorter. So all those things are designed for it to hit a yardage. I've really spent a lot of time on this. When it comes to the shaft, I tested this, to be fair, probably over 2 seasons, and I kept going back to it, going back to it, going back to it. Looks so pure just looking down at it now. And I never played it. And it came to the point where, why aren't you playing that golf shaft? You always go back to it, why don't you just play it? It hits the numbers, it hits the flight. Beautiful club, really like it. However, the reason then, bringing me back to this M770, 3-iron, this guy comes out a little bit less spin than my other P7MC 3-iron, therefore I can get more yardage out of it. I go driver 3 wood, 3-iron, which is why I want to play it with less spin so it works more than like a 2.5 iron, but I can also cut it up if needed and hold it into long par 3s if needed. But I can get as much as like 250 out of this thing if I need to, if I absolutely nuke one, and I can obviously hold it up to like a 215 if I need to. So that really worked well because it complemented the 3 wood. And that's going to transition me into this guy, the new TP5X. Not so new now, but I'll be honest with you, I was holding on and I've been looking around. I can only find a scuffed one for you, but a TP5X, the old golf ball, the old TP5X, did not spin as much, I thought, as the new TP5X. Now, this has come from me testing it a lot. Now, when I say did not spin as much, I mean on the long irons. So this TP5X spins more, so I can flight my irons a little bit more, but also the wedges, it spins more and it feels softer. So I got a lot of benefit. But working in that 3 wood 3-iron area, 770 3-iron into the 3 wood, that's how I then came more comfortable with the new golf ball because it worked better in that area and I could control it more. Then it obviously lent itself to play the P7MC 4-iron and off you went from there. So it really complemented itself, getting into the new ball, working out where my gapping was, where do I play, and that obviously then put me into wedges. Now, I've got round grips on my wedges. Everything else, I run a rib. The driver, I'm running around because I was playing around with the loft sleeve. When you do that, obviously you move the decal and the Golf Pride twists a bit, doesn't look quite as smart. So I had round on there purely for cosmetics. Usually I'll play a Tour Velvet 58 round. Used to play 60 years ago, grip thickness, hands being involved. I went a little bit thicker up to the 58 round in the Tour Velvet. Love it. Very hard for me to change. Old school grip, but that's where I'm at. Wedges. Now, here in Southern California, Kikuyu gets some funny lies. The ball can sit up. I like the high toe for that because I've got this mass here up top. I'm not so worried then if I come down and strike low on it, maybe get a little steep, strike low in the grass and the ball hits the top. I get the energy transfer, so I like the high toe for giving me speed through there. Into the other 2 wedges, I'm carrying, and I'm actually looking at changing this. I'll do a video if I do. 56, 52, mill grind 3, standard bounce on these. Standard bounce on both these wedges. Because again, being here, trying to leverage the bounce. If it was UK, I'd probably go low bounce because of the method and technique I've used, but trying to just feel and leverage the bounce to get that. Now, these are quite old, they're quite worn. I might do a close-up on them. You can see they're actually quite dirty. I need to get, you can see I've been grinding. I need to get doing some cleaning, but I've been grinding on these wedges, practicing. I don't change very often because, again, I was quite sensitive. I am quite sensitive to the golf ball. It took me a long time to get into the new, not new TP5X, long time to adjust to it. So I don't like to change my wedges very often. I will change the lob wedge more than the other two, but again, I don't like to do it very often. I like to let the grooves wear and then stay with them as I adjust through feels as the season goes on. So that's really me. Now, when I said I'm looking for a change, it might be a loft change. I might be looking to make that 52 a 50, and then the 56, a new one made at 55, purely to even out the gap, and simply because where I play, a lot more players of mini tour / PGA level seem to carry a 50, so maybe that makes you question, should I look at that? But stats-wise, stats driving those changes, everything is good right now, so not worth doing. Use the Project X IO 6.5. Now these all come out at 115. IO, individually optimized. I used to hate rifle golf shafts, I'll be honest. Back in the day, you were either a dynamic gold guy with the steps on the outside, or you were a rifle guy. And for me, rifles were dead, especially if I was trying to knock down ball flight or play with feel. However, this IO changed my whole opinion on it, and I have the stats from looking at various data to back up how I'm hitting these irons. Approach play's gone through the roof. Fantastic job. But it's not, I don't think it's flying on the tour. Don't quote me on that, so I don't want to list it out. I don't put many of these in sets of irons, but I love them. And a lot of the guys I'm playing with at very elite sort of club level also love them. And that's the 6.5. So fairly stout, gives me great flight. I can hit all the shapes I want with it. Into the wedges, I go S4s, old school, heavy swing weight, always the way I've been. A little bit softer in flex because you're not hitting shots with as much speed, therefore you want them to be a bit softer. Think about that for your own games. I would press on that one. Lie angles, something that's not well sort of written and has never really been covered, and perhaps is a bigger story that I need to cover. If you take your 6-iron lie angle, so your middle of your set, and it's round there around about 61 would be standard, then the set grades and you go into your pitching wedge and your lob wedges. Well, 64 again would be standard. I play my wedges a hair flatter, just when I put the hands a bit flatter and I want to play more of a rotational draw chip shot, then I'm not going to catch the heel, drag it, get long left, killer when it comes to short shots. So I do play my wedges a little bit flatter. But I also go flatter into the long irons. I think my 3-iron is running at about 57. So for anyone out there, that's extremely flat. The lie angle between blade and grip is further away. It's flatter. But again, think about it. I don't want to miss left because that's more destructive as the right-handed golfer. So I tend to play the long irons quite flat, but the middle irons will be on what's deemed as standard lie angle, if there is such a thing. Not really my bag to have it in that reference, but that's how I've done it. I peak in the middle of the set, I go flat in the longs and flat in the shorts, and I work it out from there. Putter-wise, this one seems to be sticking. I wouldn't say I'm putting lights out with it, and I'm killer for changing putters. But the fact that it's in the bag, and it's in here now, it made it into this What's of the Bag. It's a truss. And it's got the TaylorMade fluted feel shaft in it. I had a spell where I played a bladed putter by TaylorMade and I tested out the fluted feel. I quite like it. But this one, the TM1, what I like the most about it with the mallet is you can put it down, but it sits so square. The truss didn't get much of a great usage on tour. Keimer, I believe, still uses it. Massive in Japan. But I press you to look at this one in particular because you can put it down, address it, look at the hole, soften your grip, readjust, and it's still sitting perfectly square to the target. That's why I like that. Grip-wise, not my usual flavor. My usual flavor is the Flatso 1.0, which I've actually got my own custom ones in these. Superstroke were brilliant with that, and I like them and I use them. But this one somehow ended up with a Flatso 2.0. The rep from Superstroke was telling me that the 2.0 is the most popular grip on tour. I gave it a go. Again, it feels thick for me, but I also feel as a player that I'm round the corner from putting really well, so reluctant to change it. Other things kicking around that were worth mentioning. When it comes to tees, I actually have these tees, which I have to show them because I'm very proud of them. Love them, provided to me. TrottieGolf tee pegs with a logo in. But I've also been carrying some of these Kingdom tees, and I want to talk to you about tee height. Look at the difference there in those tees in terms of length and height, okay? Now, what does that give you? What does that mean? If you can tee the ball higher and you can hit the CG of your Stealth Plus underneath the ball, so center of gravity of this is underneath, you're going to get a higher launch, less spin, better, more optimal launch conditions. So if I'm looking to full send one, then I will go for that Kingdom tee and really peg it and let it go. I do use super speed when it comes to these. I do like them. I'll warm up with these, get the back moving. I wouldn't say I'm religious on them, but I use them. I have a plane mate at the back here. I know you guys have seen that. It helps me massively with rotation. I'll do it here at the house in order to get myself moving in a way I want to move before I go to the golf course. Loose towels, I mean, they're just so cool. There's nothing about these that are just uncool. Big fan of loose towels. I've got loads of them, that being a great one that I haven't used. Don't change towels very often. And then a couple of trinkets that I like, and I do go and play with these every now and again, are Persimmons, because I think they help me with strike. I've touched on it. I've got a Sevi Ballesteros persimmon that I take out to the goat, or a Todd Dempsey persimmon. Both of these go out to the goat with me, work on just strike, and again, it helps me when I then go and play with back to Stealth Plus. Just huge benefits when it comes to strike and strike point. Golf Forever, this again, stretching, getting your body moving. This is the same swing weight as my set, so any golf dynamic fitness things I do, that marries in. And then really to cap it off, probably the most important training aid in all of these, which go everywhere with me, and I harp on about it all the time, and I bet you ignore it, but alignment sticks. When we move around the world, practice at different golf courses, you want to have your alignment sticks down, so when it comes to getting yourself orientated with the target, just bang that alignment stick down, parallel left, and you can go from there and hit the perfect shots at the target. Why are we guessing what we can measure? Well, if you don't have an actual calibration point, then of course you're guessing what you can't measure. That to be said, same on putting. Don't have the training aids here, but there's gates that I use, there's arcs that I use, there's more stuff I'll cover on that, and I'm doing more and more on that as I'm learning more about my own putting. Same, any indoor stuff, perfect practice. You've seen me use that before. Again, just to get the feel and use the lines to orientate yourselves up with the target. That is my what's in the bag. I know that you asked for it a lot. I know you're interested. The season is creeping up on us. You've got to make your changes now when it comes to loft sleeves. You've got to make your changes now when it comes to shafts and it comes to lie angles. All these tweaks, and that's why I've gone into that much detail, they make an impact on how you're going to play. Get them right. Know what you need. Constantly evolve your picture. I've been playing this game forever. I know what I like. I know what works in pressure situations. You've got to find out and build the portfolio for your game too. Good luck with it. If you like what you're seeing, subscribe and let me know your thoughts on my what's in the bag. And if you learned anything from it and what you might go out and change to become better. Check it.